The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And I'm back. I'm back.
The rumors of your demise were greatly exaggerated.
The rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated, and they're merely the delusionary fantasies of the Coogan administration.
Sounds good. Well, you read part of this, so I want to bring it up right off the bat. Taxation. Imagine that, taxation.
With
no
representation.
So
or bad representation.
I found a bill that was filed in February of 2021, House 3039, and it will add a 3-cent excise tax. Excise tax to gas, 3 cents per gallon on gas. So I send Representative Alan Silvia, who's on the Ways and Means Committee. Rep. Silvia, I would like to express my concern that House 3039 would get your support or the support of any member of the Fall River delegation. An additional 3 cents tax per gallon on fuel would be burdensome on many Fall River residents, with inflation at the point it is and is expected to increase. The bill appears to have been proposed by representatives in high tourism districts. And while those communities may be able to afford it, Fall River is not so lucky. I am aware of the 3 cent per gallon tax will benefit the city revenue stream, but at what cost? Please do not support H3039. Representative Silvia sent me back an email. Hi, CJ. This bill was filed in 2016. There will be no new gas tax in any way. As you may know, I one of only a few Dems who voted to suspend the gas tax. It is still on the table and may be still included as part of the tax relief package prior to the end of the session. So I sent him an email in response. According to the bill tracking, it was sent to the Ways and Means Committee on April 7th, 2022. It is an active bill. It had its hearing virtually on 10/13/2021. Please review the bill that was sent to you once again. And then he sent me an email saying, I will check it out. I replied to him. H3039 was filed in the House in February 2021. It is on the top of the legislation I sent you. So then I get this. CJ, as you know, I sit as a member of the House and Joint Committee on Ways and Means. I just spoke with the office, and that bill goes nowhere, especially now with the present gas situation. I'm going to hold you to that, Alan. I'm going to hold you to that. It's going to go nowhere, so I'm going to hold you to that.
Well, what I'm going to do is look at exactly what he said. It's going nowhere now.
Right, now.
Because of the gas prices.
Right.
But as usual, Dems and taxes, they can't be separated. They're joined at the hip. They're like Siamese twins. And while we're cleaning up other things, at yesterday's city council meeting, they read half of a letter that I sent them.
Yes.
And that letter was not sent. I will be there tonight to get my 3 minutes and no more, because Pamela Liberté and the council really don't like to hear from the public. But if I lived out of town and I was in the Chamber of Commerce, they'd give me an hour and a half.
Right.
If I was a developer making millions of dollars and taking it all out of the city, I'd get as much time as I wanted. I could do a PowerPoint presentation. I could do anything I wanted. I could bring in, a circus act for entertainment, have a little buffet on the side. Doesn't matter. There'll be no time limit on that, baby. But when the taxpayers get up there, done. 3 minutes, that's it. You're 1 second over. Get the police in here. Get this rabble out of here. And that's what they do. And so...
Well, at least they don't call you a terrorist yet.
Yet. Yeah. Well, the problem is, and when I go up there, I give them normally not my opinion. I give them laws and I give them. So tonight, I'm going to have 3 minutes to put down a fairly extensive letter that I wrote, and I'll take the blame for this because I had to go up to this seminar and a conference or whatever the hell you want to call it for MACRS, for Massachusetts Contributory Retirement System, because you need to get educated. You have to go and get credits, as you know, CEUs for a lot of things. We need to get CEUs every year. And so I was in a hurry. I had to leave. I didn't want to drive up to the Cape. I left late anyway. I had to square the dog away and stuff because she just surgery and just had surgery. So I had to have all the caretakers ready so they know what there was. But I didn't want to drive up to the, look, I hate driving up to the Cape anyway because the traffic sucks, the roads suck, the signage sucks, everything sucks. And I don't want to get, even with my GPS, you can get lost. I mean, you can't see street signs.
Right.
And there's no street signs in a lot of places. So I left in daylight, and I was in a rush, and I forwarded it over to CJ without that heading that I had on the last one. It said, this is for reference.
Right.
And they read it, and she gavelled it not even halfway through the letter.
Right.
So who can make any sense of that? But they don't care. Just like the hearing. I'm filing a complaint about the hearing when I'm up to, because a hearing shouldn't have any time limit.
No, it shouldn't.
Because what is it? It's a hearing. How can you hear what the individual is there to deal with if you limit his time? Him or her time, or whatever pronoun you want to use. I don't care. I don't want to get into that part. But it's all BS. The bottom line is it's almost like an inconvenience for these people to listen to the people. They just want to go out and do their business, ignore the law, kill you with taxes, and just keep on trucking. That's the problem. The problem is that they're not going to listen. I'm going to go up there tonight. I have to condense everything and read 1 or 2 lines out of all the laws, but we will post that letter and all the documentation of the last 2 on our CAG website, Spindle City, and all over the place, everywhere we can, so you, the general public, can read it, because they're violating the law. They're paying those things out of ordinance, and I know they won't like this because we have a video link to watch the Corporation Counsel be a mummy when he was asked directly for a legal opinion, and he went. And as Councilor Dion said at the time, I'll take that silence for a yes. That's acquiescence, to assent by silence. You give your assent. So he didn't say it. He didn't just say right off the bat, no, you're wrong, Counselor, that is legal. No, because it's not. Because how are they paying those salaries? They're paying them with money. And money has to be appropriated for salaries. And the law clearly states that ordinances are permanent regulations. You can't pay outside an ordinance, and we got that video, by the way. We'll have the link for you. And we I actually specified the time within the meeting that it went, so you can fast forward right to that area. And listen, where the city administrator, who's also a lawyer, said, oh yeah, we're paying outside the ordinance. A lawyer? And you don't know that that's illegal? What are you paying it with? Money, taxpayer money, that was not appropriated, because Chapter 43, Section 1 clearly states that an ordinance is a permanent regulation, so it can't be changed. And then if you go down to Chapter 44, Section 33A, you see it says that salaries must be appropriated by the city council. And if there's a change in any kind of salary or ordinance, there has to be, after the budgetary cycle, there has to be a supplemental appropriation for that money. Otherwise, it can't be paid. Yet, Paul's pals are getting paid outside the ordinance, and it's illegal. So I'm going to go down there and try to get as much as I can in, but be aware, they're violating the law, and we're not going to let them. Well, the taxpayers are getting murdered, and all they do is just like, don't listen to them. It's only white noise.
Well, this was one of the things that came up in the budget here, the budget meeting. What was that? Tuesday? No, yesterday was Tuesday. The last budget meeting before last night was the fact that budgeted in the FY23 budget was the salaries over the ordinance amount.
Yep.
And this way it would have been funded by the city council, even though it was exceeding the ordinance amount. So now whose fault?
It's the city council. They acted illegally. It's now an illegal budget.
Exactly.
And that's the point we're making tonight.
Yep.
They put that in without, and he talked about, and we also got a video of Paul on the mock round. Dion's just saying, oh, yeah, I don't know what the big deal is. You know, I negotiated the contract, and you can negotiate anything you want. A contract is not in effect until it's funded by the city council. Conversely, you cannot exceed an ordinance, and you can't appropriate the money, but apparently you did without. So you're going to try to do like you did with the last budget, the 45-day runaround. Get circle. You're going to try to stick it in a budget, and then you'll turn around and say, hey, they appropriated the money in the budget, and by the way, now you got to fix the ordinance after the fact. But they have the right under the law to reject anything they propose.
Exactly, but the problem is that you have the 5 city councilors that are up the mayor's butt so far that everything he wants he gets. Now, remember, this isn't something new. This is not something new, because this came up once before when Madeline Coelho was in. Mm-hmm. And she explained it that it was an annual cost of living increase or something along that line, something that they give every year. And it exceeded ordinance, those amounts that they gave over. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she was ordered to give that money. I don't know if it was just a past practice. I don't know how they did it or where that came about, because even to this day, I don't think Michelle Dion knows where it came about.
Yeah, and therein lies the problem, though. They talk about it, they know it's illegal, and they allow it to happen.
Right.
But we've had it now. People are dying. They're getting killed. Their 401ks have now become 101ks. Mm-hmm. They can't afford gas. They can't afford food. Nobody cares about the average taxpayer in the city of Fall River. And they just let this stuff go. And they always got this spinology. Look, that's not what the law says. And guess what, 5 city councilors who are bobbleheads? You will be held accountable by the people. There will, if you do not, you stuck your hand up, and I know that Paul put the wrong hand up and they had to tell him which hand it was, because we got the video. Got his hand up there, and I swear to uphold the Constitution, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the laws of the state of Massachusetts, and the ordinances. When you raise an ordinance over the present ordinance without going through the legislative thing that needs to be there, you submitted an erroneous number. That number, and now if the 5 city councilors want to approve that, well, I guess the 5 city councilors will be named in a 10 taxpayer suit with the mayor, because this is enough. Enough is enough. Maybe some people have already forgotten many years ago, maybe 10, maybe more years ago, when a federal judge said, I'm sick of seeing Fall River up here. They never follow the law. Well, guess what? On that video, Paul Coogan said, I swear to obey the Constitution, the statutes which ordinances are in, and how you handle that money, and the ordinances of the city of Fall River. So help me God. So help me God. And they're not. They get that cavalier attitude. Oh, what's the problem? I negotiated the contract. The problem is, you dummy, that you can negotiate all you want. Nobody's saying you can't negotiate, because you can. But no matter whether it's 150E, Section 7, which is in it, it says, after you negotiate, within 30 days, you're going to bring it before the council to appropriate the money. And if the council says, no, we're not going to appropriate the money, you're back to bargaining.
Right.
It's off. The council never approved that new figure. It is illegal.
And as a matter of fact, the mayor sent down to the city council.
Yes.
And it went to ordinance, the increase in the ordinances for the salaries. And the council said no.
That's right.
And he still said, I'm going to pay her.
Which means that he's not the mayor, he's the king.
Yeah.
You know, and I think somewhere in one of our forefathers, they said, this is a government of men, not of kings. And he's not a king. So if Paul Coogan, and he can't plead, as you said, what you just said is very important for the viewers to understand. You can't plead ignorance, even though it's not an excuse in a court of law. You can't plead ignorance that you didn't know you were supposed to get this money authorized, because you sent it down and they said no, and you still did it.
Right.
So you intentionally violated the law, exceeded your office, and assumed the power of the legislative branch yourself. And everybody who was involved in paying that money out is guilty of an ethical and legal breach of their fiduciary duty to the taxpayers of the city of Fall River. And in that letter, there's case law.
I had made a comment to members of the city council that if I were the one to be in the seat to decide the budget for the mayor's office, I would reduce the budget to $1 except for the mayor's salary. $1. That means no chief of staff, no PR person, all of that gone. Okay? And they can't comprehend that they can do that and then build back up.
Although they can, see, you're giving them far too much credit for being dumb.
For being stupid.
They're not. They know full well they can do it. They just don't want to do it.
Right.
They won't do it. They won't even abide by the law.
Correct.
They won't even abide by the law, but they're bound. The law that they all swore to. Because, you know, I got the video of Paul, so help me God. But we can get the video to city council.
It's
the same thing.
Same video.
The only difference is state your name.
That's it.
You know? They all swore to uphold the laws, the Constitution. And you know something? Paul hit the cycle in baseball. You know what the cycle is in baseball? You get a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. You do it all. You bat 1,000. You hit them all. Anything you can get, you got. Well, he did everything. He violated the Constitution, part of the first Article 7, and that's in the letter. He violated the laws of Massachusetts, Chapter 43, Chapter 44. He violated the city ordinance by exceeding them and funding them. He did it all. He's a do-it-all guy, like he said. Make me the mayor. I'm a 24-hour mayor. I'm here. I'm working. I'm not staying within the law. I'm misappropriating taxpayer money. But then again, who cares? It's only your money. You know, you can't fill your gas tank up. You can't pay your rent. But don't worry about it. The citizens have a right, because we are the government, remember, at all times accountable to us. And we're going to make you accountable. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you people just blatantly ignoring your sworn oaths and your fiduciary responsibilities. It's ridiculous. Nobody gives a crap. And you betrayed the public trust. And I got to say this before we get off. Some parts of that conference are good. We had the legal part. First part, though, was who came to speak? Maura Healey. Yeah, that was my response. Maura Healey. And I said, she was supposed to speak in the morning. She spoke in the afternoon. And of course, when did she speak? Right before the credit course, where everybody is going to be there because they want to get their credits, right? So they bring her in. And, I'm going to run for governor. Yeah, you guys are wonderful. You retirees, I know you worked hard, and I know you're having trouble because of the economy and blah, blah, blah. And, you guys are wonderful, and I love we're going to do everything we can to help you. And nice, it's typical, political babble. But then she made a point. I said, wow. I even wrote it down. She said, we've got a lot of work to do, she said, because Massachusetts housing has become unaffordable. Wow. Massachusetts housing has become, and what is Fall River doing? Making it more affordable. We got a population that can barely afford Fall River rents, which are the lowest around, and now they're gonna stick people in there where they can't pay. And I know there are counselors who I spoke to who are getting tons of calls from low-income people, moderate income, fixed income people. They just can't pay their rent. So Maura Healey at yesterday's speech that she gave to the Macros members said Massachusetts has a problem. We have an unaffordable rent problem. And this is right from the person running for God. And the other thing that was good, that afternoon was good, because then I hit the legal seminar. The legal seminar was good about cases. I love that one, because you know me, I love laws and stuff. And boy, I'll tell you, it was like karma. We're talking about getting screwed and how these people are just blasé. We can violate the law. I'm not going to give you the case, because I know you're watching. Go look it up. Actually, you can find, I'll tell you who gave that particular, I believe it wasn't Mike Sacco. Mike Sacco, I think, did the section on some pension forfeitures. But this is the counsel for the Massachusetts Teachers Association Retirement. I think he does some stuff, right? But he got up and they went over a case of this guy. And they started talking about, guess what? The public trust. Betraying the public trust, which is a fiduciary, one of the things that are fiduciary responsibilities. You have to maintain the public trust. And you know what he said? I'm not going to get into the name of the guy or what, because you can look it up. I'm tired of doing all the work for you, okay? This guy got convicted, 42-year employee of community maintenance. I think it was community maintenance, but he stole $600 worth of dirt. And they fined him $1.5 million. And he went, oh, you can't do that. And he went to court, citing the 8th Amendment. And the 8th Amendment does say, it's about unfair bails, unfair fines, etc. I don't have it verbatim. I can look it up, but I know what the 8th Amendment is. Guess what? It went to court, and you know what the judge said? You violated the public trust. The 1.5 million stands. Case closed. He got hammered for $1.5 million for stealing $600 worth of dirt. Good for that judge. Good for that judge. The public trust is priceless. And when a city behaves the way this city does, they are betraying the public trust.
Did they take his pension back?
Well, they couldn't do that.
Why not?
They couldn't do that because it was that's the technicalities of the public pension law. You know, that was like it was after the fact. They had already adjudicated it.
Yep.
And stuff, and so they said, well, you can't go back and try to retroactively. You know, the
Right.
board made its decision, but the fine. He was bitching about the fine.
Have you noticed that, though? I mean, it's very, for some reason, the retirement boards don't reject these pension applications from people who are committing crimes. We have police officers, which are convicted. We have police officers which have cut deals. We have police officers which have resigned under questionable behavior. And why did they do that? So they wouldn't lose their pension. But if there's no repercussions for your actions, what good is the system?
Well, actually, Mike Sacco covered that one. There was because people don't realize it's a very narrow. When they drafted that bill, it's very punitive. You take away not only the pension, you take away all their health care benefits, any survivor benefits. They're gone. Everything's gone. You got nothing. But it has to be done. It has to have something to do with your job. In other words, using your job to do something criminal, and that's a pretty narrow parameter. In other words, like if you're a DCM employee and you rob a bank,
You can't do it.
you can't do it.
Right.
But I'm glad you brought that up because it was fascinating. It was one of the best ones I've ever had. The worm is turning. There's a case right now that a police chief was getting paid off for 10 years by gambling for allowing video games. He got terminated, but they gave him his pension. He appealed. Supposedly, he's been getting his pension for 20 years. Guess what? They're back in court trying to take it away because they said, no, he used his position. And the board screwed up. So the thing is, you've got to have a good lawyer. So the moral of that story was make sure you get a good lawyer that looks at that. And then believe me, anything that comes across, we got one. Mike Sacco represents 52 retirement boards. He's always one of the top panelists, the first guy to speak. He's really sharp. Believe me, if a pension is revocable and he says it should be revoked, I can guarantee you that at least now, when I'm on a board, it will be revoked.
Yep. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. I mean, it's our money, whether it be pensions that are paid or salaries that are paid out of ordinance. It's our money. And when you are going to the gas pump and you put $25 in your tank and it doesn't even give you a half a tank, you start going, what's going on? When you go to the market and an ear of corn is $1.99 for an ear of corn, 1 ear of corn, I found it, $1.99. That's outrageous. I remember when we could get an ear of corn for a dime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well.
Okay, so now we're at $1.99 for an ear of corn, and you're hoping for a sale where it's on sale for $1 an ear. It's getting tough. It's getting tough. I mean, when I saw bacon for $8.99 a pound, I almost had a heart attack.
You stopped eating bacon.
That's it. You got to stop eating bacon. But it's definitely interesting.
$3 an egg and a cape.
There you go. Hey, welcome back, Chip. We hate it when you're gone, but your stand-in did a fabulous job.
Nelson did a great job.
Yeah.
He talked facts, and it must be something about this chair. It makes you.
It's got to be
facts.
that chair.
Yeah.
It's not this one, that's for sure. This one's just for my butt to sit on. Well, I want to thank you all for watching today, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Friday.